Good morning. My name is Kim Saylor. I'm the Product Marketing Director for Fixed Operations, and I have Peter Kahn with me today, and he's the Senior Director of our Research and Insights team. So we want to talk about winning and retaining service customers, and in the fixed ops department, it's really never been more important. We always see that fixed ops always kind of rises to the surface when sales drops, right? So right now with the inventory shortage, it's definitely a time where the importance of the revenue and the profit center of the fixed ops department is, taking full focus. So we want to talk about how to win back and retain the service customers. So Peter, you did a study on that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the study that you did?
Yeah, you bet. So as you mentioned, service really matters a lot to the dealership. It's the profit at the bottom line. So when you think about service, it starts out, there's almost like an evolution. A customer buys a car, and they get typically a 3-year warranty, and so they're able to experience dealership service. And then they run out of warranty, and then they have a choice. They can either stay with the dealership, and it's based on those 3 years of experience, or they can leave and go somewhere else. So what we wanted to understand is we really want to understand why were people staying, what were the things that a dealership did in their service department that made them stay, and why were they leaving? And what can dealers do to bring them back again? How do you win back that service shopper that's so important to you? So that's what we studied. We went to the shoppers. We surveyed about 400 service shoppers. About 50% of them were still in warranty. About 50% were out of warranty. And we asked a number of questions. We wanted to know, again, the questions I mentioned. Where are you getting your service at now? Why are you there? And then pretty much went from there with the research.
So what was it that you found out? Like, why did customers leave the dealership after the warranty went away?
Well, a lot of them do stay, not enough.
Okay.
And the reason why they stay is that there's trust between the service customer, the service advisor, and the dealership. These are folks that know my vehicle. They know they're factory trained mechanics. They use OEM certified parts. I've built a good relationship with the service advisor, so I'm getting the service I need and I trust that it's right. So that's why they stay. And the thing that actually causes them to leave is that breakdown in trust. When you think about buying a car, you're really coming to the dealership maybe 3 to 5 years, so you don't come very often. But when it comes to service, you're there a lot. And so that's how you form that relationship, and that relationship really matters. And if there's something that happens that breaks that trust, it's like anything else in life. I don't trust you anymore, I'm going somewhere else. And that's what happens. And so how does that trust get broken? The trust gets broken primarily because people feel like they're being upsold. They feel like the price isn't fair. They feel like they're getting recommendations for things that they don't need. They just feel like they're being taken advantage of.
Are the customers seeing something different when they go someplace else? Did you find out? Did they give that reason that they aren't getting upsold someplace else? Did you find anything like that during the survey?
We did. So again, we looked at why do you stay at a dealership? Why do you go to a national chain? And why do you go to an independent service provider? Primarily the national chains, it's low price and convenient. But when we look at the reputation of those folks, it's not as high as, say, a dealership or independent service provider. Independent service provider right now, for good or for ill, has the highest what we call net promoter score. It's a really interesting way we find out what that is. We ask how likely are you going to recommend, say, this dealership or this service provider to a friend or a neighbor, that's how people buy, is recommendation from others. And it turns out with the independent service providers, they have the highest, what we call net promoter score, likelihood to recommend. And the way they get that done is they start with typically a small repair that's kind of more convenient, and they start to build that trust again between the independent repair shop. They're doing the job right, they feel like the price is right, the customer comes back for a little bit more and a little bit more, and now they've established that relationship. And instead of the dealership owning the relationship and that trust, now the independent service provider owns that trust.
So I'm hearing trust a lot, right? So trust is the reason service shoppers are staying at a dealership, but it's also the reason the loss of trust is why they're leaving the dealership or they're going someplace else. But you also mentioned knowledge, or certified trained technicians, and and that was important as far as why people stayed. That's really interesting because I think dealers could really take that and kind of move forward with that, make sure that they focus on that opportunity, because that's really something that those independent or chains cannot really give their shoppers. The dealerships have knowledge, their technicians are certified, so I think they really need to start promoting that and making that more obvious. I had one dealer tell me that he was talking about using videos, right, and trying to use that to help promote knowledge. And one of the things he was saying is, like, when you go to the doctor's office and you're getting something from the doctor, you want to hear from the doctor, right? So same way with the consumers, they want to hear from the technician, and I think that really helps promote that knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting because you brought up some of the what we consider delighter features or performance features that dealers can offer that not only, again, using the factory specialized mechanics, certified parts, the things that's what shoppers value dealerships for, but there's features, there's service enhancements that dealers can do to win back those shoppers. And so you mentioned one of them, which is, I think is using videos and photos so folks can see what is going on, they understand the kind of repairs that are needed, and again, that starts to build that trust back again. Another thing that dealers can do, which is what shoppers really want to hear, is they want to get an accurate price at booking. They want an accurate estimate. And so that's really important right up front by the service advisor to do that assessment, use some tools that may be available to them, and provide an accurate estimate. That's another thing that matters a lot. It's also really important because we talked about convenience, and that's where the chains are really strong. And so dealers need to think about, when it comes to services, how do you make it more convenient? One way to do that, and a lot of dealers are doing this, 47% in our last survey, is service pickup and drop off. And with the pandemic, with people being afraid and staying more close to home, a lot more dealers have invested in service pickup and drop off, and that's going to be something that's going to stick around because, again, it makes it easier for the shopper to engage with the dealership. So that's another thing. And then there's one other thing that shoppers are always very interested in, and that is, where's my car? So I've taken my car into the dealership. I want to know the status of where it is. When am I going to get it back again? And we know a lot of dealers are looking for something like that, say from CDK, to give a progress on where the car is, so they can give something to the customer, say be through a mobile app or what have you, and the customer can track where the car is and getting it repaired.
So you talked a little bit ago about price, and you said it's not just the lowest price, although that's important, but consistent or time of booking, and it's really important that dealers offer consistency, right? So the consumers are getting a price when they're scheduling their appointment online, when they drop their car off, it's the same price that they're getting told, and then also when they pick up their car. That consistency, I think, is really important as well. That's something that dealers can really focus on to help retain those customers or bring those customers back, giving that pricing online.
Absolutely. And yesterday we spent a little time talking about artificial intelligence, and CDK has got Predictive Service, which is a way of helping mechanics quickly get to understand a problem and resolve that problem. And so not only using tools that get an accurate price, but really doing a good job up front and understanding what the problem is. And using artificial intelligence, which quite frankly everybody's going to have to rely on with connected car, but using artificial intelligence to understand what the problem is, now you're building that trust back again. You're giving the customer a fair price, they understand it, they don't feel like they're being upsold. You're able to do an accurate job of estimating what's the problem. That combined with, again, selling the notion of specialization, factory certification, all that. Also now, I as a shopper, by the way, 75% of the shoppers who had defected said they would come back if these things were there. You're gonna keep the shoppers that you've got, you're gonna win back shoppers you've lost.
So you mentioned predictive service, and what's really interesting with predictive service is that it's utilizing millions of repair records and serving up data to technicians on what they can inspect, to help sell more service, but also provide better experience. But what we've heard feedback from dealers that are using it, it's allowing the newer technicians to have knowledge that before only an experienced technician would have.
And everybody knows, I'm not telling anybody a secret, that getting service techs is really difficult. And so thinking about that apprentice service tech, somebody that's new to the business, having an aid like Predictive Service that helps guide them, that starts to solve that staffing problem that you just mentioned. So, I don't know how people are going to do the job, 5 years from now, again, with connected vehicle, with advanced driver assist systems without some artificial intelligence helping them in the service bay.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're going to just see that information continue to grow so that, it'll be at the technician's hands. Yeah. So, in a nutshell, what would you say how dealers would win and retain their customers? What would the 3 things or 4 things that a dealer could kind of focus on?
So number 1, make it convenient. Make it easy to do business with the dealership. Service repair, service pickup and drop off is a big one. Mobile repair order, having something where you can text the customer the estimate, so it's easy for them to see what the charges are. They can pay the charges. So everything mobile is important. Make it easy for them. Sell from what customers want from you, which is, I want you to do this job right. Again, with your certified techs and with some special artificial intelligence programs from CDK and from your manufacturer to make sure those estimates are right. A service pricing tool to get the right estimate. Making it easy for people to schedule online. That's a big one. So convenience, trust, reputation on doing it right. Those are the 3 things that dealers should really focus on to keep their customers and win back them.
Yeah, so what's great is, here at CDK for our service customers, we have tools to allow the dealers to use and win those customers back. So trust with the pricing. We have service pricing that will allow them to display it online and make it easy online. When the customer brings their car in for service, they'll have it in the lane, as well as, when they pick up their final invoice. So service pricing, I always call it our secret sauce, because it really does give exactly what the consumer wants and what the dealer wants. It's a great product for all. But also, talking about knowledge and trust, we have a tool called Service View, which allows the dealership to send the technicians. It basically gives the customer a view behind the curtain, right? So into the service bay, what the technician's actually recommending to the customer. And so it also helps promote that technician knowledge as well. And then finally, you mentioned, keeping the customer notified when they are, with their cars in for service. So we have something that we're getting ready to come out with called Vehicle Tracker, which does just that. So we'll be able to send a customer a text. At any time, they'll be able to click on that text, see exactly where their car is in the service process. So all, revolving around helping those dealers win back and retain those customers, grow additional service profit is along with providing a better consumer experience.
Fantastic.
So thank you.